Hi, my name is Andrew Nielsen. I'm the Senior Director for Cloud Migration and Technical Enablement at VMware. And today we're here to talk about VMware Cloud on AWS and how to do fast yet cost-effective migrations to AWS Cloud. Getting right into it, enterprise modernization is reshaping the face of IT, and business and technology needs are driving the need for application modernization. So maybe your organization wants to get into a new digital business, launch a mobile application, respond quicker in the face of the unprecedented times that we're currently in, or retire some technology debt, or maybe as they move to cloud, they need to deal with a skills shortage or get off unsupported platforms that are causing security and compliance as well as supportability nightmares. We have a joint customer in IndusInd Bank who used VMware Cloud on AWS to deal with these exact problems. And as we walk through this presentation today, you will come to understand how you can leverage VMware Cloud on AWS to enable your application modernization journey. Applications are also driving very specific infrastructure choices. In the case that each application typically runs in an environment based on its requirements. But when you go down the path of application transformation, there are 5 R's to consider. You're going to re-platform that app, you're going to rebuild it, you may just rehost it, you could retain it, or you get rid of it and retire it. And those infrastructure choices are very, very broad. They could be a local cloud, they could be in the public cloud, they could be a private cloud in your data center, or they could be a cloud at the edge. Whatever those choices are along the way, you have to choose sometimes between is it customer managed, is it provider managed, and a hybrid cloud is the best way to deal with the myriad of applications that you're dealing with as you go down the path of modernization. But there are some challenges there. And when you go down the path of a hybrid cloud strategy, you're often dealing with things like inconsistent infrastructure, different skill sets and tools between environments, different management tools and security contexts between environments as well. Also, a lack of compliance and security certifications depending on the markets that you serve, and an inability to move workloads bidirectionally. What's the outcome of this? You get decreased agility. In some cases, studies have said that it takes 7.4 years to refactor and migrate 100 applications to cloud. And there's also higher risk from a staffing and talent perspective, as over 90% of organizations report skill shortages when it comes to cloud. And there's just, frankly, higher costs due to rework resulting from refactoring and revalidating applications. But a hybrid cloud with consistent infrastructure in your on-premise data center and in the cloud can help you overcome these challenges. This is where VMware Cloud on AWS comes in. It is a partnership between VMware, who's the leading vendor of compute, network, and storage capabilities in the private cloud and in the data center, supporting a broad range of workloads, and AWS, the leader in public cloud that brings flexible cloud consumption economics, a broad set of services, and global scale and reach. This partnership goes all the way back to 2016 and continues now in its 5th year today, as VMware Cloud on AWS is our preferred cloud partner with a service status to be able to support all vSphere workloads. What does VMware Cloud on AWS deliver from a capabilities perspective? One, you get a seamless migration to cloud. With VMware Cloud on AWS, since you're running on the same compute, network, and storage stack in AWS that you're already running in your data center today, you get a fast, cost-effective, and low-risk migration to the cloud, but you get to consume the rich VMware software-defined data center from AWS as a service. And you get consistency of operations, you get consistency of security, and you're also using the tools and services and processes that you already know and are embedded in the framework of your IT organization today. But you get workload and application portability. So if you want to move applications bidirectionally between AWS and your on-prem data center, you can do that. You also get the ability to host modern apps. And with VMware supporting Kubernetes in its hypervisor with Tanzu, you get, for the first time, containers and VMs served simultaneously in the same software-defined data center as first-class citizens. And when you run it in VMware Cloud on AWS, you get access to AWS's entire service catalog of over 200 plus services at this time. VMware Cloud on AWS is a jointly engineered cloud service between VMware and AWS. It's essentially VMware software-defined data center running on AWS's bare metal infrastructure, delivered, operated, and supported by VMware. VMware Cloud on AWS gives you on-demand capacity and flexible consumption, but also gives you full operational consistency and security, and the ability to seamlessly host large-scale workloads with portability and hybrid operations across AWS's global footprint for reach and availability wherever those applications need to live. More importantly, it gives you direct access to native cloud, so as you migrate your workloads to the cloud, you can modernize them with services that you don't already have in your data center today. There are a number of use cases for VMware Cloud on AWS. First and foremost, next generation applications. So when you want to take your existing applications and modernize them, you can do that in VMware Cloud on AWS, whether they're existing or you want to do a new application build out, or maybe you have applications that have hybrid requirements. For customers looking to migrate to the cloud, whether it's application specific with business critical applications like SQL and Oracle, or maybe you're just looking to get out of the data center business altogether and do a data center evacuation, VMware Cloud on AWS can do that as well. Or maybe rather than upgrading the infrastructure or refreshing it in your data center today, you want to get access to the latest hardware technology, but make it an OpEx expense. VMware Cloud on AWS can do that as well. Or maybe you want to extend your data center and have burst capacity or publish virtual desktops and published apps. Or rather than having a CapEx expense for your test and dev environment, you can burst those into the cloud as well. Now, virtual desktops is another major use case for VMware Cloud on AWS. So whether that's you need to burst for capacity, you want to do disaster recovery, or you just want to run desktops as a service, VMware Cloud on AWS can do that as well. Another use case that we see a lot of traffic on is disaster recovery. So whether you want to stand up a new DR instance rather than refresh your existing one, or you're just replacing your DR and moving it from that CapEx column to the OpEx column, VMware Cloud on AWS can complement any DR scenario that you wish, whether it's new or existing, and really make this a more predictable expense for your organization. VMware Cloud on AWS is the enterprise-ready platform for modernization. And when VMware Cloud on AWS looks at application modernization, it's really a two-step process. First is you migrate your applications to the cloud. So think of it if like you wanted to make a really great meal, but your kitchen was really old. What would you do? You'd put in some nice 6-burner stoves, maybe some speed ovens, or you get a new refrigerator, something that would allow you to make an amazing meal. And then once you upgraded your kitchen, the modernization is the meal. Maybe you make a Corso salad, maybe you would grill filet mignon, or you would make some type of an amazing vegetable dish. It's once you've moved your workloads to VMware Cloud on AWS, you have access to the native AWS services to do amazing things that you would have never been able to do for your applications in your own data center. VMware Cloud on AWS allows you to modernize applications and infrastructure operations in a single stroke. And from an infrastructure operations perspective, you have access to a full API service. You can do in-product development. Infrastructure is code automation, so if you're using things like Terraform, you can manage your infrastructure that way. But it also allows you to transform applications with Kubernetes. So with VMware Tanzu Kubernetes Grid and our mission control support, you can take containers and VMs and host them in the same environment. You also can do agile development as well as have full CI/CD ecosystem support and enrich them with the cloud services that we've already talked about. The benefit of all this is that you get to minimize disruption on the migrate and modernize journey. You get application portability, and you can extract complexity. So your infrastructure is no longer a gating factor in your ability to move to cloud and to modernize your applications. And you can empower IT to be DevOps ready. VMware Cloud on AWS is available in AWS regions around the globe. There's obviously a list of regions that are currently available and planned. I'm not going to take the time to read through those. But what I would call your attention to is the number of certifications and compliance attestations that this service has. So whether you desire things like ISO, or you may have government use cases, financial services use cases, healthcare use cases, VMware Cloud on AWS, running on the AWS infrastructure, can answer the mail when it comes to security and compliance, so that you know that when you move your workloads to VMware Cloud on AWS, that they are safe and secure. One of the things about VMware Cloud on AWS, it has a very compelling economic story as the fast path of migrating workloads to AWS. So if you look at what Forrester and IDC say, we went out, we did a TCO study that basically surmised that in a 3-year comparison for over 3,000 VMs, there's a 59% recurring savings from an infrastructure and operations perspective. But more importantly, is being the fast path to the public cloud with VMware Cloud on AWS, you can save up to 57% by eliminating costly rework and refactoring applications and reducing migration times from years to months. And we will delve into that a lot deeper as we go through some of our customer examples in this presentation. VMware Cloud on AWS provides customers a major advantage. First, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting VMware's enterprise software combined with the flexibility, speed, and global infrastructure of Amazon Web Services. There is zero refactoring when it comes to moving workloads from on-prem into VMware Cloud on AWS, with up to 69% lower migration costs, but more importantly, a reduction in time to get to cloud. You get to leverage your existing skill set with up to a 71% savings in operations by leveraging the expertise that you already have in place today, and you have a lower TCO versus traditional on-premise environments for infrastructure operations and security savings. VMware Cloud has a number of customers in a number of different verticals. So depending on whether you're in gaming, you're in energy, you're in technology or financial services or healthcare or education or consulting, VMware Cloud on AWS can answer the mail and has a solution for your specific use case so that you can get on your migrate and modernize journey to the cloud immediately. Let's dive into our customer use cases for a second, starting with Zenrin Datacom, who migrated to VMware Cloud on AWS to be able to leverage a modern hybrid cloud infrastructure. And Zenrin had some pain points when it came to capital and operating expenses of maintaining IT infrastructure. They wanted to increase the flexibility of their service infrastructure and speed to market by taking advantage of hybrid cloud. They wanted to reduce the costs associated with migrating existing systems to the cloud, and also decrease the development load for accompanying cloud migrations. So in less than 3 months, they were able to migrate 700 plus VMs, which was 40% of their VMware count. They increased flexibility and scalability of their IT infrastructure on VMware Cloud on AWS, and they reduced the time and hardware costs needed for deployment on premises and achieved cost efficiency from server migration in their on-premises environment. More importantly, they got an enhanced storage I/O profile and performance running on AWS's bare metal services. Let's take a look at another customer example with IHS Markit that was looking to rapidly extend its services on a global footprint without purchasing additional data center capacity. So they needed to be able to respond to global opportunities without having to invest in new physical data centers. They also needed to migrate workloads to support corporate acquisitions when data centers lack capacity, and they needed to use existing automation and security policies both on-premise and in the cloud. And in less than just 6 weeks, they were able to move 1,000 workloads to VMware Cloud on AWS. This accelerated service delivery, enabling developers to have same-day self-services provisioning of pre-production environments. It supported a rapid business growth around the globe and also reduced CapEx costs while adhering to country-specific regulations that IHS had to comply with. Another good example is 888 Holdings. They're a gaming company out of EMEA. They wanted to deploy disaster recovery as a service to the cloud without having to re-architect their applications. And they desired to enhance end-user experience through the use of big data to stay competitive, but they were also in a very complicated market from a regulations perspective that they also had to meet security and compliance requirements on. And they wanted to enable the business to flex workloads between on-premise and in the cloud to create agility, address data sovereignty, and also deliver cost advantages. And 888 Holdings was able to reduce their operational costs. They completed the project with VMware Cloud on AWS in less than 6 months, delivering scale, agility, and workload portability, supporting business growth without refactoring any of their applications, while strengthening DR with VMware Site Recovery so that they could manage DR in the cloud with synchronous data replication, and established a single pane of visibility and common management tools and security in the cloud and in their on-premises environment. VMware Cloud on AWS also has a growing partner ecosystem. So there are over 600 plus VMware Cloud on AWS solution competent partners, another 40 with the master services competency. There are over 100 ISV ecosystem partners with over 300 plus partner-ready solutions. I invite you to check out our partner success stories, as well as visit the VMware Marketplace for more information on this growing ecosystem. One of the things that we're excited to announce is VMware Cloud Universal, which is VMware's new subscription service for being able to consume products both on-prem and in the cloud. And this enables customers to get access to a rich set of enterprise-class VMware compute network and storage and management in a flexible subscription model across private, edge, and public cloud environments. It also gives customers the optionality to leverage VMware Managed Local Cloud, Customer Managed Private Cloud, and VMware Managed Public Cloud deployments, and is integrated with our customer success program, Success 360. So how does it work? Think of it just like you would a Metro card. You pay ahead, you use it at will, you go anywhere, and you add at any time. So it gives customers the flexibility to consume VMware infrastructure in any of the environments that we've previously talked about. So when customers move to a hybrid cloud, there are a number of business outcomes that they benefit from. First is accelerated innovation with the latest technologies and cloud service that are all accessible through VMware Cloud on AWS. This increases developer velocity and flexibility and allows for reinvestment of migration savings into application modernization efforts once they've moved into VMC on AWS. It allows them to uplift their operations and respond faster to the business. It also allows them to improve infrastructure security, reliability, and scale, and focus on more strategic technology efforts than just managing infrastructure alone, and also allows them to reduce costs with lower TCO with an on-demand cloud service, and moves their expenses from CapEx to OpEx with zero migration and application rework cost. So how can you get ready for the modern cloud with VMware Cloud on AWS? First of all, you're going to want to understand how VMware Cloud on AWS is going to fit into your overall cloud strategy. Analyze your use cases, talk with your VMware representative to get a better picture of how all this can come together for you. Once you've done that, you're going to want to analyze what your cost profiles are going to look like. And we invite you to request a cloud economics conversation with one of our economists at the URL mentioned on the slide there. But more importantly, try it out for yourself. Check out one of our hands-on labs, or you can go ahead and request a pilot or a POC experience as well. To get started now with AWS, feel free to go ahead and scan the QR code or check out the link below on the slide. So there are also a number of resources for you to learn more. We have a number of pieces of technical content that you can check out, not only on our website, but blogs, podcasts, as well as our YouTube channel. Check out our hands-on labs, whether they're fundamentals or lightning labs, or if you're looking to see how VMware Cloud on AWS fits into your environment, go check out the use case HOL as well. Also, feel free to engage with us on social media and check out our Quick Start series, which is also one of the fastest activity paths to get a better understanding of VMware Cloud on AWS. So with that, I'd like to thank you everybody for your time, and please don't forget to fill out your survey at the end of this presentation. Enjoy the rest of your conference. Thank you.